Hi everyone, I'm back here with Javier with Atlantic Moving and Relocation.
Yeah.
And he's going to talk to us all about all different kinds of moving, because there is so many different ways, you know, whether it's packing it, moving it, across country, across the world, wherever. So thank you for coming today. And
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me over. This is fun. I can't wait to talk about it. So
tell me a little bit of why you got into it, or a little bit of history, background of yourself.
Man, you know, no one ever really thinks about getting into the moving industry. You just kind of happen. It just happens that way. I had a client back when I did advertising that needed a advertising or marketing manager, and I was like, I could do that. Let's start up the sales department. That's just kind of how it happened. And then from there, I went to Atlantic Relocation, who's an Atlas Van Lines agent, a really big movie company, and just kind of blew up from there. So, you know, was supposed to have been like let's see, check it out for a year. It's ended up being now 15 years. So.
Wow, you've been with them for 15 years.
Well, I've been with Atlantic Relocation, Atlas Van Lines for 10 years, but before that was a smaller moving company. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what made you so passionate about moving and like helping, you know, people? And
The passion just kind of grew. It started off as, okay, I'm providing a service, and then after you get to a certain level, you start saying, okay, this is really a personal thing for individuals when they're moving the items, especially when you're talking about people who have individuals that have been passed down from generation to generation, where grandmother's china or their piano or whatever, or personal stuff. It just kind of became one of the things. Okay, this is actually a needed service where people really feel a personal, deep interest. Their personal goods that are being moved, it has to be done a proper way. So it just kind of became that way. It is what it is, and it's become a fun industry, really. And I think more than anything else, it's become a fun industry because it's so many different things that we can do.
yeah, so what are some of those things that you offer to people? And you know, I know you have a ton of different services. What are some of those services that you offer?
So when people think of moving, okay, we're going to move their household goods from place to place across town. Yeah, and that is definitely part of it. We're moving your apartment and your house, your contents from here to there. We can also move it from across the country, across the world, really. But when you're talking about moving as a full service, you're talking about going in there, doing the packing, boxing all the items. If you've ever done it yourself, you know that's not fun at all, right? Loading it, transporting it, offloading it, and again, wherever you want to. We also have storage, which is a big component to moving. A lot of times people buy a house and don't know where they're going immediately, right? There's this time lapse of, I have to close on this house and I can't get into this house before a certain time. So we offer storage services as well. So
you have your own storage units that y'all provide, or it's a part of the service, like it'll be a package deal? Because I know for me, sometimes it's just even when people are getting ready to list their homes, they have so much stuff in their house. And it's not that it's bad or good stuff. They just have so much stuff. Some people just collect a lot of stuff. And so for pictures and things like that, when they have too many things in the home, it doesn't look that great. So sometimes I just need people to come in, and get that house kind of cleared out and have somewhere to put their stuff while we get their house listed and on the market, and then...
Yeah, absolutely. For staging purposes, what you're talking about, staging, or you go in and say, okay, let's take away, pictures on the wall, let's open up the room, let's do that. Make it look so that potential future buyers can come in and say, okay, this is what my stuff would look like, right? So yeah, that's definitely part of it. That's one of the services. But when people move, for example, I have here's a great example. I'm going to go see a lady this afternoon who's remodeling her house, right? We're going to go in, clear out the house, and she's going to remodel it, store it, and then whenever she's ready to have it delivered, we'll deliver it. Or let's say someone is moving cross state lines, right? Maybe
Florida, for
Florida.
example.
We're going to Florida. I've never heard that before. I wonder where I heard that one. Florida. And they're not going to be able to get in their apartment or house for another month or two. So they need to have it stored. So we can store it and then move it. So, and the great benefit on that is that it's under one umbrella, right? It's going to be covered and it's going to be handled by one entity as opposed to taking it to a mini storage or public storage and then having someone else deliver it. So that's part of it too.
Where do you service?
So that's a great question. So we are part of Atlas Van Lines, right? So that's a major name brand. It's the second largest mover in the world. So obviously we service Houston and surrounding areas, anywhere in Texas, anywhere in the country, really. I just talked to a customer right now who's moving from Chicago to New Orleans. So we're going to be able to service that. So, and frankly, if people are moving around the world, we can do that as well.
So you can do the cargo and ship
yeah,
it. Yeah,
absolutely. I just did someone who's moving to Guatemala, having someone that's moving to Norway. So there's very few limitations. Obviously, there's some that you can't get to, but definitely, if it needs to be moved across the world, we can do that. So.
Are you actually getting out there and helping people move their stuff and pack their stuff yourself?
So I don't know if you noticed. Did you notice I walked in with a limp?
No.
Oh yeah,
I didn't.
Yeah, that's because I tried to pick up a piece of furniture and it fell on my foot. So no, I'm not
Yeah,
going to do
let's
it.
stay away from packing and moving yourself.
I am staying away from that because I am not good. There's professionals that can do that. I am not one of those. There's individuals that handle it, and we have some amazing guys that can do that, men and women that do it. So it's I'm going to leave that to them.
Is there a specific training that goes into becoming a mover, or because just their style sometimes of moving something that's so big, that's so awkward, and so I at one point myself even had to have a crane come to the house to put a china chest into my house because it didn't fit up the windy stairs. This was back when we were renting a house before we bought a house, and it was a little bit crazy.
Oh, you'd be surprised. And a lot of it comes with experience, right? First of all, being a part of Atlas Van Lines, you do have to go through a training. If you're a mover or a driver, you have to go through through that to be certified to be able to do these types of jobs. But just particularly what you're talking about, yeah, you really have to have that experience to be able to handle certain things. Not everyone can handle piano. Not everyone can handle a grandfather clock. Not everyone can handle certain items. It's more that experience of just learning how to do it. And these guys have been doing it forever. I was over at a job the other day and they had this awkward lamp. I was like, how are they going to get this in a box? Well, they cut up a bunch of boxes, and next thing you know, it's fitting in this box perfectly. And again, that's just because with experience, knowing how to do it, right?
Okay. So yeah. What is the process someone has to go through to get an estimate?
Okay, so cool. So thanks for asking. I appreciate it. The process is give me a call. I'll come over. We'll set up a time for me to come out to your place. If you don't feel comfortable about me coming over, we can do something over video call. Obviously, now that the pandemic situation is happening, we do video calls as well. But I'd love to come out, visit with you, take a look through, do a walkthrough, do a detailed inventory, see exactly what needs to be done for your move. If at all possible, I'll go ahead and give you the estimate right there and then. And then if you accept it, I'll turn it over to our coordinator. We'll get it set up and get the move going. So I try to walk through with every single job, whether you move in a house or an office. I haven't mentioned that either. So we do office and warehouse moving as well too. So if you're looking to move your office, that's something that we can do too.
Oh, warehouse. What do you mean by doing a warehouse move?
You'll be surprised. So give you an example. We moved the electrical supply company, and they have a 100,000 square foot warehouse full of electrical equipment. And we were moving their racking and all their inventory and everything for that. So that was a pretty fun job, actually. That was about a 4 or 5 day job where we had guys going 24 hours a day, about 6 trucks rotating.
I imagine there's a lot of risk involved in something like that too. You're doing electrical things and stuff like that.
Yeah, there is a lot of risk involved. So you try to take those measures too, but also, we have workers' comp, so and we have insurance. So that's something that as a mover you really should have.
What kind of coverage do you have?
Coverage, that's a good question. So we have full liability coverage. So if you're moving your household goods, we do full replacement coverage. It's very rare that I'll I will do a job without it, but I implore everyone to get a replacement cost coverage. So just in terms of what the state and U.S. law requires, it's called 60 cents a pound per article, meaning if something were to get damaged, whatever that item weighs times 60 cents, that's what you would get. So you get that automatically at no cost. That's something that I really, really, really dislike. So we always put full replacement cost coverage. So if you need to put $100,000 of coverage on your items, we do that.
What does that look like?
In terms of what?
Like as far as costs, like how expensive is it to add on to your move to get coverage?
It depends. It could be if you're moving interstate, I can probably work a pretty good deal where I can say, listen, here it is, right? If you're looking for more coverage, extended coverage, it's probably going to cost you anywhere between $100 to about $500.
Does it change varied on like the cost of the items? Like let's say it is a big grand piano or an antique piece of furniture that's worth
Great question.
hundreds of thousands of dollars, this one piece of furniture, does that change your coverage as far as your
Great question. So I'm going to answer it in a couple of different ways. So we do have what's called a high value inventory form where anything of that nature that's valued over $3,000 needs to go on. So we're going to make sure we cover that. At the same note, if it's something, let's say it's a nice piece of artwork, we're going to handle that a certain way. We're going to build a wooden crate. If it's a Steinway piano, we have piano handlers that handle that. If it's a grandfather clock, we have people that handle that. So, lady I'm moving to Chicago, she has a settee that's super, super antique and valuable, made of wicker. We're going to build a crate for that. So if it's something that's super high value.
a tea set?
Settee.
Oh,
Love
okay.
seat.
Okay.
She calls it a settee. So trying to sound fancy, I guess. I don't know. But we try to handle those a certain way.
Okay.
Right.
So you would have to get specific people to come in and handle those specific pieces of furniture.
Yeah.
So there's a separate cost to that.
There is separate cost to that. Yeah.
Okay.
So, we want to make sure we handle that.
And I guess
properly.
it's worth it if you want to protect your most valuable things.
I just shipped it's funny, I just had this conversation yesterday. I shipped a fine piece of artwork to Guatemala. And it was going to an art gallery down in Guatemala. And we created it specifically for this piece and built that piece. And we shipped it down there. And this is a high valued item. And the art gallery called us and called the customer saying, we've never seen anything handled this way. Normally people try to put it in a box, roll it up, and that's not the proper way of handling it, right? You want to make sure things like these certain items are handled the proper way.
So I'm sure all your reviews online and everything are great.
They're pretty good. They're pretty good.
So
We have a good rating across the BBB, Angie's List, Yelp. It's Google reviews. It's pretty good. Now we handle quite a bit of jobs a year. And to have that type of rating is pretty impressive, I think.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think everything, it can be as complicated or as simple as you want it. And it seems like y'all can pretty much cover all those things for people.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
It's like if you need any moving costs or, need to know anything about moving or get an estimate or any of that kind of stuff, please call Javier. How can they get a hold of you?
You can call me direct. My office number is 713-856-2304, or you can email me at javier.sierra@atlanticrelocation.com. So, call me. I would give out my cell phone. Actually, I will. 832-771-6805. Call me, text me, email me, and then I'll respond.
Well, thank you so much
Appreciate
for
it, Dena.
coming.
Thanks for having us over.
That's a wrap for today. Thank
Cool.
you so much, everyone, for joining the show. And hopefully we'll see you next week.